From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're a bit behind schedule today, so I do apologize, but welcome to an awesome episode of the CyberHub Podcast Practitioner Brief. Everything you need, we're going to try and get it done in under 10 minutes. We typically do, but a lot to talk about, including MITRE publishing their 2022 list of the top 25 vulnerabilities, Microsoft fixing an Azure Linux bugs, Log4Shell still around, and CISA with two big announcements and pieces of information that are going to be very, very critical for a lot of practitioners. So we're going to get right into that. Before we do that, though, double espresso about cyberhubpodcast.com for all the latest. Friday, my good buddy James McGugan will be joining me. We'll be talking about American cybersecurity ingenuity. What's the last year been? And some America trivia on Friday with some really cool swag coming your way. So make sure you tune in 11 a.m. Eastern on Friday. Without further ado, my double espresso. Coffee cup cheers, folks. All right, let's get into this MITRE piece here. So MITRE published a list of the 2022 list of the 25 most dangerous vulnerabilities. Some of the most significant changes include race conditions and so forth, but the dangerous software weaknesses list, and you talk about their list here, out of bounds write, improper neutralization of input during web page generation, improper neutralization of special elements used in SQL command, improper input validation, and out of bound reads are the top 5. If you go to the top 10, you'll see something here: cross-site request forgery, the SCRF, and path traversal at 8 and 9 respectively as well. And also the use of code injection and proper control of generation of code. MITRE says that the CWE top 25 can help a wide range of professionals mitigate risks, including software designers, developer testers, project managers, users, educators, security researchers, and those who help develop standards. This list is powerful, folks. Microsoft fixed the bug that lets hackers hijack Azure Linux clusters. The fixed container escape vulnerability in the Service Fabric's application hosting platform that would allow threat actors to escalate privileges to root, gain control of the host node, and compromise the entire SF Linux cluster. The Service Fabric is a platform for business-critical application that hosts over 1 million apps, according to Microsoft data. It also powers many Microsoft products, including Azure SQL Database, Azure Cosmos DB, Intune, Events Hub, IoT Hub, Dynamics 365, Skype for Business, Cortana, Power BI, and many other Azure services. So the security flaws track, the CVE 2022-30137, dubbed Fabric Escape by Palo Alto's Unit 42, and it was discovered and reported to Microsoft on January 30th. The bug has now been fixed by Microsoft, and you can see the entire write-up. I know. Here's the headline here: bug fixed 5 months later. It takes some time to fix bugs, folks. We kind of almost expect them to go, there it is right there. This isn't CSI. And sure as hell, it's going to take a longer time to do that. A Log4Shell vulnerability is still targeted in VMware servers to exfiltrate data. CISA and the Coast Guard Cyber Command released a joint advisory warning that Log4Shell flaw is being abused by threat actors that are compromising public-facing VMware Horizons and Unified Access Gateway servers. The VMware Horizon is a platform used by administrators to run and deliver virtual desktops and apps in the hybrid cloud, while UAG providers secure access to the resources residing inside the network. According to CISA, in one instance, the advanced persistent threat actor compromises the victim's internal networks, procures a disaster recovery network, and extracts sensitive information. As part of this exploitation, suspected APT actors implemented loader malware on compromised systems and embedded executables, enabling remote command and control. Obviously, there's a huge part of this why Log4Shell hasn't been patched yet, and some of these is significant, but they do give some incident response and mitigation, isolate the compromised system, analyze the logs. All software should be updated and patched, and reduce non-essential public-facing hosting services, etc. CISA calls for an expedited adoption of modern authentication ahead of the deadline. The October 1st deadline for modern authentication and Exchange Online is quickly coming up, and the Executive Order 14028, improving the nation's cybersecurity, and the FCEB agencies are required to adapt MFA within their environment to modern auth is the first step in that direction. CISA is now saying you guys need to hurry up and get this done. They're turning off basic auth for the following protocols: MAPI, RPC, offline address book, Exchange Web Service, POP, IMAP, Exchange ActiveSync, and Remote PowerShell. So good to see that the government is just now catching up to the idea of multi-factor authentication. So it's good to know. Finally, CISA says the PwnKit Linux vulnerability is being exploited in attacks. The CVEs tracked to CVE 2021-4034, and PwnKit has been exploited in attacks on Linux. The flaw, which came to light in January, affects PwnKit, a component designed for controlling system-wide privileges in Unix like OSs. PwnKit is developed by Red Hat, but it's also used by other Linux distribution. The PwnKit has been described as a memory corruption issue that can be exploited for privilege escalation. It allows any unprivileged local users to elevate permissions to root. The vulnerability has been found to impact products of several major companies, including Juniper, Moxa, IBM, VMware, Siemens, and others have released advisories. The proof of concept exploits have been available, and exploitation is fairly easy there as well. While there does not appear to be any public reports describing attacks that involve exploitation, CISA added the vulnerability to its must patch list, and now they are putting out some warnings. Those typically come from some of the overseas partners as well. Folks, that's it for our show today. We'll be back with a whole lot more tomorrow as we wrap up this week. And Friday, 11 a.m., Mr. James McCoogan will be joining me right here on the CyberHub Podcast. So can't wait, folks. You guys are going to absolutely love it. Till then, have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.